Welcome to another edition of Against the Grain Sports Podcast Uncut. And I'm your host, Jody Coleman. I'm joined by my man Jarrell Soul on Sports Glenn, all the way from San Antonio, Texas. Man, how you feeling, my guy?
I'm feeling good, man. Feeling great. Ready to talk about some football, man. I love it.
Hey, listen, everybody out there is going to be an abbreviated show. The reason being it's going to be abbreviated because we know we got the college football playoff semifinal game between the number 6 Ole Miss Rebels against the number 10 Miami Hurricanes, and we're going to get right into that. But before we get into that, we have to dive into a few things. Once again, big shout out to ZTV and Gateway Sports for streaming us as usual. We got to get I can't even begin to even talk about anything pertaining any sport without talking about the Miami Dolphins have fired Boy Wonder, the head coach Mike McDaniels. Who predicted this? I'm not sure who predicted it. I'm not sure. Y'all know it was me.
That would be you,
I
big
told him
dog.
all those antics he was doing. It was cute at first, but as time caught up with his offensive scheming, planning, pre-snap motion, the NFL catches up. Defenses always catch up with offense. Talk to me about Mike McDaniels being fired in Miami.
Jody, he's one of the line of guys I think that get in over their head. I think he's just meant to be an offensive coordinator. Just like some guys like Raheem Morris just meant to be a defensive coordinator. Sometimes just stick to what you know. Sometimes you need to stay in your lane. And I think he got he think, I can just go in there and run these trick plays and do this, not have to worry about all the other shit. No, you're the head coach. There's more to it than just calling plays. Yep. And I think he got in over his head. I think once he gets back to what he's really good at, just calling plays, no post-game interviews, all this other stuff, I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah, man. How you doing, Teresa? Hope you're having a fabulous day. But talk to me about potentially who could be a replacement in Miami. There is 7 available jobs. Tell me who could go to Miami and who could potentially where will you rank the Miami Dolphins job?
I don't know how good of a job it is. They benched Tua, so it seemed like Tua's on his way out. Tyreek Hill, he had a knee injury last year. He's probably not coming back. They have a bunch of injuries on their defense. If they get rid of Tua, they're going to be in salary cap hell. So I don't know, Joey. I would guess it's what we got. How many open jobs? We got about 8. We got about eight open jobs.
It's 7 open jobs. So
somewhere it's in the middle. And here you go, Jody. It's 6-7. It's one of them two.
It's 6-7. Hey, hold on. Jay Kane said you can't use the word cute associated with football and dudes. Pause. He thought it was cute. He thought what he was doing was cute. He thought it was funny in a kid kind of way. And this is a grown man's game. Teresa said, thank you, packing away and moving next month. Cool. Bought out. Congratulations. Congrats. Teresa, on buying a house. That's always a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Around here in these parts. So my thing is the firing of Mike McDaniels. Like I said before, it was cute. How you doing? Certified queen in the building. He had all those pre-snaps. Remember, he used to put people in motion. He had all that speed. He had a track team out there. He had guys like Tyreek Hill. He had Moisture at the running back. He had Tua, Waddle. Everything was fine when he first got to Miami and South Beach because nobody had seen that type of offense with that type of speed. And it caught up with him. Just like the Wildcat they had in the early 2000s when they had Ronnie Brown. Remember, they was running the Wildcat. And nobody seemed to be able to figure out what the Wildcat was doing. So I'm going to say it like this. So I would say the Miami job because it is in South Beach, but they have not done a lot of winning. Matter of fact, their last playoff win was, I believe, when Lamar Smith had those 40 carries for 216 yards. I believe it was like 2000 when the last time the Miami Dolphins.
I was going to say the 90s, but you might be right.
So my thing is, I think this job is probably like, if out of 7, I would say it's a 5. I believe the Cleveland job is better. I believe the Atlanta Falcon job is better. I think the New York Giant job is better. of course, the Baltimore Raven job is better. I think Baltimore may be the best job because they're a team that was in the playoffs multiple years. So, I mean, it's not a desirable place. They're in a salary cap purgatory. They got a lot of stuff they got to move around. Tyreek Hill don't want to be there. You're going forward with Tua. So, what do? You try to draft a quarterback. How do you blow the Miami Dolphins team up at this point, so?
Do they roll with Quinn Ewers? They drafted him and he got a couple starts here, or does the new coach come in there and convince Tua, hey, look, man, that guy's gone. I believe in you. You know what I mean? It depends because I think Tua has to be in a certain system. He's not your prototypical big, strong arm quarterback sitting in the pocket. He's accurate, but his arm is not. It's kind of like a water pistol. Hey, Joey, what's that quarterback that playing for the Jets?
Chad Pennington.
He got an arm like that. He got to throw way before the wide receiver gets over because he don't have a strong arm. He's accurate, but not very strong.
Yeah, you got to be in a certain type of system. I think honestly, if I'm a head coach of the Miami Dolphins, I get rid of Tua.
Yeah,
I start fresh with my guy, whoever that guy may be. I think Quinn Ewers, you keep him on the roster and let him compete with whatever quarterback that you bring in, whether it be the draft or free agency. I don't even know what quarterbacks are going to be available in free agency at this point, but we'll definitely know about that. What's up, Eagles Philly in the building? He said, good evening, good brothers. Keep doing your thing. Stay safe and stay blessed. And, we'll definitely be talking about the Eagles matchup this weekend. Also, we got the certified queen said, I don't know why I feel like the NFL season was a wash. I don't think it was a wash, even though my Cleveland Browns didn't go anywhere. I think I told y'all at the beginning of the year this was going to be a season that was a throwaway season for the Browns. We have so many of them, so what's the difference now?
So what's another one, Jody?
What's one more? I got my man Travis Allen in the building. He said, great, it's time to get rid of those coordinators, the funky head coaches, man. They definitely do, man. Them head coaches come in and they think they smarter than everybody in the room. And that's where I think the problem come in at. But you know what we're here for, so you know exactly what we're here for and what we came to do. And what we came to do, because this is an abbreviated show, guys. We're only going to be on here for another 22 minutes. And it's all about the U. It's all about Ole Miss, number 10 Miami versus number 6 Ole Miss. Talk to me about now you can pick the game and tell me some key elements in this game or why you think the team that you believe would win, why?
Well, Ole Miss has more turmoil. You think it stopped a few weeks ago or a month ago when their head coach left? No. Now the guy that's got them to this point, he left the building. They had to move some other people up to be the head coach, and they had to bring some other assistant coaches, some grad assistants to move in and help coach this team in a playoff game. I think it's just too much, Jody. There's no way Ole Miss can get through all of this. I think Miami might dog walk these guys tonight. Miami's focused. Their defense is ready. I think it's just too much, man. I got Miami winning this football game. I think that running game is going to be too much for Ole Miss. And I think that young wide receiver, that freshman, I can't think of his name right, the dreadlock.
Malachi Tony.
They're going to take the top off of the defense. And I think they're going to run a flea flicker, not at the 20-yard line like we did in the NFL last week. But I think they're going to actually run a flea flicker from like the 50-yard line when you're really supposed to run it and take the top off the defense. I got a feeling they might embarrass Ole Miss in this football game tonight.
Now, yesterday I was all in on the Miami Hurricanes. And
yeah.
I still believe they can win this game, but I did a little bit more research on the Ole Miss Rebels. And this is the Lane Kiffin effect. So this is Lane Kiffin. This is why I said what I said. That's why I said I didn't believe personally that Lane Kiffin should have taken the job at LSU, because I think LSU is 2 or 3 years away from even being in any kind of competition, just in the SEC alone, let alone for the national championship. And he had built a program that, listen to some of these numbers. So some of these guys he got Trinidad Chamberlain, this kid, 3,660 yards, 21 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 520 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns. He's responsible for that. He's the guy that brought him in from his Division II, where he won a championship, brought him in. He got another guy, I believe, that was second in the SEC in rushing, in Kawan Lacey, 1,464 yards. He got 23 rushing touchdowns, second in the nation. Some of these wide receivers, Wallace, 57 catches. He got Alexander. He brought in a lot of talent where he put his own mark on this program. And to say that I'm a lead on defense, he got guys. The kid Xavier Harris is 6'7", 320 pounds, and I believe he's a first-round draft pick this season. I believe he's going to become an impact player in the NFL. He got Prince over there, Prince U, Kel Franklin, Perkins. All these guys are impact players. Echoes on the defensive line. Why lead this program at this particular juncture where you're 12-1, I believe. You just knocked off your arch rival that it seemed like nobody could beat in the SEC. Lane Kiffin, man, you got to be kicking yourself right now. Do you agree with that, so?
No, Jody, because I think in his mind, he thinks he's made the right decision. And if you look at it, the guy, he never stays anywhere too long. Now, it ain't always been his. He's not leaving on his own terms all the time, but he never stayed at his place no longer than 4 or 5 years. I mean, look, he was at Tennessee for a short time and went to USC. It's my dream job. He was only there 2 or 3 years. He went to the Raiders. They kicked him out of there. And then he became an assistant coach. And I think he took Florida International. Is that the job he took?
Yeah,
he stayed there for a couple years. He just used that to springboard into a better job. So the guy's used to jumping around. But I think, Jody, in this climate we have with the NIL and the transfer portal, I think you can build a winner in year one.
I don't think
if you spend your money correctly.
I just don't think he can, because it's not a lack of talent down in Baton Rouge. I just think that Baton Rouge, they hit lightning in the bottle when they won with Joe Burrow. We got to understand, Joe Burrow was a transfer from, the Ohio State University. We know when they won the championship, I believe they had Matt Flynn when they won the championship. I think they catch lightning in the bottle every 10 years or so. And I don't think their 10 years is up. I think they got some more time to build at LSU. LSU is not a team that can consistently be a dominant team. I don't care what people say. Do they have success? Do they have championships? Yeah, but look at when they're not winning championships. Look at their records.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
So, in my opinion, Lane Kiffin had the opportunity to build something special, which he had in Ole Miss. And Ole Miss has just as much talent, if not more talent, than LSU. The transfer portal, the NIL money. They may not have as deep in pockets to me. And I'm going to say this because I want to get back to really saying something about the game. I don't want to take away from these kids of what they're doing. But I do have one more question for you, and then we'll get back to this game. Do you think that Lane Kiffin is a fraud? How much different is he than Brian Kelly?
He's a fraud. I think he is. He sold them a bill of goods. I think he sold them some swampland down there in Florida. I think that's what he did, bro. Joe, this guy hasn't really done any winning. He's had some successful seasons, some good quarterback play. He's good behind the mic. He talks well, blah, blah, blah. But he really hadn't done no winning. So, yeah, LSU, you know what you're getting yourself into. He's going to speak well. He's going to recruit well. But when it comes to coaching, he really hasn't done a lot of winning. He's kind of like the old the USC coach, the one your brother can't stand.
Are you talking about Lincoln Riley?
He's kind of like Lincoln Riley. Yeah, I got quarterbacks. I got this. I got that. Well, how many championships do you have? Well, I don't have any of those.
and my thing is, I want to give him respect because what he did with Ole Miss, being out of 4 years there, I think he had 3 seasons. He had 10 wins, and 2 seasons he had 11 wins in. So plus, so I don't want to take anything away from what he did, but I think he's a fraud. I think he's always been a fraud. I think he lived off his daddy's name.
Yep.
Has he built programs up? Absolutely. But I mean, in a lot of these situations, your name carried more weight than what you brought to the table. I think LSU, I'm going to go ahead and say it on record, and if I'm wrong, y'all can bring this clip back up, but I don't think LSU made the right decision by bringing Lane Kiffin in as if he's going to be the savior of the program. I think it's going to be another coach that's going to be the one to get them back to prominence. And actually, you got to get a quarterback down there. We don't know who's going to play the quarterback position in LSU, but that's enough about LSU. We're going to talk about Ole Miss, and I think Ole Miss is a team that could be of destiny, but I want to go on record. Remember, I told you I didn't believe Ole Miss should have gotten to the tournament, and this is the reason why. So the reason why I didn't think they should have gotten the tournament is because you can't say that the lack of coaching does not affect how you play on the field. So now you made a statement. You said that they got a different person calling the shots. And remember, if we go back to that Georgia game, remember before the half where the mismanagement of the clock, that could have came back and bit them if Kirby Smart wasn't being so arrogant. Talk to me about that, bro.
Very true, man. I think it's going where it's ugly head in this game. I really think, Jolie, you can only take so much. Yeah. Oh, that sounds crazy.
Yo,
you can only.
Yo.
Where's Ray at?
Bring the gap.
Only. Man, what's a clean way to say this?
Just say it. It's the cat out the bag. The cat out the
You
bag.
you can only take so much of this turnover.
How many inches are?
Too much turnover,
Hey,
and it's
how
short
many
term.
inches
It's
are
not
you
like
taking?
it's
That's
not
all I
like
want
they
to know.
went. It's not like, oh, we got a few weeks to get ready for the next game. They changed coaching staff from last week to this week. 7 days ago, was it?
Yeah.
Maybe less than that. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, it's just too much, bro.
Now, Now I want to go to the other side of the ball, and we're talking to Miami Hurricanes. They have a return on their investment at the quarterback position, and they paid Carson Beck a lot of money. We question it. I question it because I didn't know if he was going to come off the injury and play this well. And then we saw what he did against Louisville, where he basically threw that game away. No pun intended. He literally threw the game away in overtime and loses a game at home. He goes on the road and stinks up the joint at SMU. And all he has done has been efficient in these playoffs. He hasn't had to do much. So we can give a shout out to the coaching staff and Cristobal what they're doing because they limit you bring a senior quarterback in and then just limit him. The way they're dealing with Carson Beck, you think he was a freshman. Talk to me about that, sir.
I agree. You remember Cristobal was assistant coach with the Alabama Crimson Tide back in the day, so he learned under my guy. So he's probably thinking, "Hey, look here, man. The early Alabama teams, that quarterback play wasn't very good, but they had a great running game and they had a nasty defense, and that's what Miami's they're going to win it. If they're going to win championships, they're going to be in that same type of way. The running game's going to dominate, and their defense is going to stop you from scoring. So, and I think that's how they're going to do Carson Beck. Enjoy the ride, young man. Get you a championship. If you only throw the ball 12 times a game, it's okay. Just win, and that's the only thing that matters.
So now the question comes again. So you got Carson Beck where you don't want Carson Beck to win it. You just don't want him to lose it. But what happens against this Ole Miss offense that we know can score in bunches? What happens if they go down 10 points and now you have to let the offense kind of open up the offense and you let Carson Beck? Do you trust that Carson Beck, if they go down 10 or 2 possessions, do you think that Carson Beck is a guy at this juncture of his career that can bring them back?
Against this Ole Miss defense, I think he can. Because Ole Miss, like Mike said yesterday, their defense is optional on that roster, on that team. They don't play much defense. So you don't want to get into a shootout with Ole Miss because that's what they want you to do. But I think if you had to, you could come back on them because they don't play much defense down there at Ole Miss.
That's true. Now, my thing is a key. We know about Malachi Tony. We know about Mark Fletcher in the running game. But one of the key elements, I think that this is a senior guy that played at LSU last year. This is his third school in 3 years, entered the transfer portal. We talk about C.J. Daniels, the wide receiver. This guy has 7 receiving touchdowns. We saw the one-hand catch he had in week 1 against Notre Dame. How big do he have to play in this matchup? Because we're going to need senior leadership. Ole Miss, they may not play a lot of defense, but they're going to surround their guys and bracket cover Malachi Tony. They're not going to let him beat them. What do you think C.J. Daniels can do in this game to shake it up and help Carson Beck out?
If Miami gets their tempo of the game, they won't have to worry about their wide receiver. You guys are going to be fucking blocking because we're running this fucking football. If we actually get in the third and long, maybe you have to make some plays and pick up some key first downs. But I'm pretty sure Miami's game plan is, look here, man. Let's just run the football, run the air out of the football, play good defense, and let's get out of here. Let's go home. First of all, before we leave the stadium, let's watch Michael Irvin whoop a water cooler on the sidelines before we get out of here and go back to South Beach.
Hey, if I see a little white dust on that sideline, I know it's gonna be a hell of a night.
And maybe it's that chalk that LeBron. That's that chalk that LeBron does. No,
that ain't no damn chalk. He got chalk on his nose. Yeah, all right. But this is the thing though, because the reason why I say that is because if they go down potentially 7 or 2 possessions, say 10, 13 points, and Carson Beck has to put the ball up, I think Miami offensively, they got a left tackle in Francis Mana Yuga. I butchered his name, but this kid is going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
But they want to see if the Ole Miss sees number 6, Charmaine Brown, that means the door is being closed because that's the guy that came in relief against Ohio State and he ran the rock. That's their power closer. If you see Brown, number 6 on the field, that means it's a good day for the Miami Hurricanes. Talk to me about their closer in Charmaine Brown.
Yeah, Man, I'm about to say another question with him. He sucked the life out of Ohio State defense.
And I mean Shamar Brown. I'm sorry, I said
Yeah,
Shamar.
he sucked the life
Shamar.
out of Ohio State defense, man. They tapped out at that point. Like you said, they're already running with running back, and they bring the other guy. He's fresh. You're like, man, goddamn, we try to tackle these some bitches. And plus, I still don't like Ohio State had a whole month off between games, but that's
That ain't
another
no
story
excuse.
for
That ain't
another
no
day.
excuse.
It is an excuse, Jody. It's a damn good one.
Nah.
I think it's bullshit. You shouldn't have no month off, and you got to go on the road after that. That's bullshit. Anyway, all that being said, Miami's running game is going to be a big part of this football game. Can Ole Miss slow them down? I don't know if they can do that. We'll find out though.
Now, so on the other side, we know about Mendorez. I'm sorry, the end. We know about him. We know about Ruben Bain Jr. But the guys in the secondary that they're going to look to make plays. They're going to look to a freshman. So, and this kid is Bryce Fitzgerald. This kid has 6 interceptions on the season as a freshman. You know what names come to mind when you got 6 interceptions as a freshman? He's in the same breath as Ed Reed and Sean Taylor and Brian Blades.
Ooh.
You talking about, I'm sorry, Benny Blades.
Legends.
No, I'm talking about Brian Blades was his brother, obviously. Benny Blades. You talking about Benny Blades. You talking about Sean Taylor and Ed Reed. That's what company he's in with 6 interceptions as a freshman. Can he not, now he's not a freshman no longer. What can he do in that secondary that can help out? Because we know that Ole Miss is still going to test him because they know he's still a freshman.
You gotta communicate a lot, Jody, when you're back in the secondary. You're playing against a dual threat quarterback because he's not just sitting back in the pocket and just standing there and making his reads. He's moving. That means the wide receivers are moving. So you got to communicate. You got to be on the same page. If not, somebody will be running down the field by themselves because those type of quarterbacks you got to deal with from Ole Miss. You don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. You don't know if the son bitch gonna break out of the pocket, take off running, or he gonna roll out and throw the ball 30 yards down the field. So you got to communicate in the secondary, and that's very key for if you want to stop Ole Miss today. And I think Miami's defense can do that.
And you know that Fitzgerald's the one that closed the door when the Texas A&M Aggies had an opportunity to tie that game. He's the one that sealed the game with his 6th interception of the year.
You called it interception, Joe. Remember you said he cannot throw an interception in the red zone. And what did he do at the end of the game? Throw an interception.
I just knew so they couldn't overcome multiple interceptions. No team can overcome red zone interceptions, let alone in the end zone. We saw him being Marcel Reed do that multiple times. He got away with it against LSU, but you ain't getting away with a game that's very close. And then his counterpart in that secondary, he got Jacoby Thomas. This guy was laying the lumber against Ohio State. Man, he was knocking people's mouthpieces out. Yeah. This is a guy that got 64 tackles on the season. He got 5 interceptions himself. So you got 11 interceptions with your 2 safeties, man. How can he dictate? Because I think he's a little bit better against the run than he is in coverage, but I think he's pretty good in coverage with 5 interceptions, evidently.
Maybe they'll use him as a spy on the quarterback in this game.
True.
I mean, that could be a key part of their defensive plan going into this. I mean, I would.
Yeah. Because he has the ability. I think on the next level, he may be that box safety that a lot of teams are dreaming of. And I think he covers very well in the slot against those slot receivers. And we know that if you look at the Ole Miss side of the ball, they're going to be looking to go to Deuce Alexander in the slot. You want to take that guy away. This guy had 43 catches, 677 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's a guy that can move the chains, get them intermediate routes, and Thomas will knock your fucking helmet off. And we got my man in the building, Andrew Mic'd Up Williams. Jay Kane and Chef, both of our people in the building, in the comments, man. So we definitely want to give a shout out to those guys, man. Like I said, it's an abbreviated show today. There's so much talent that's going to be in the field. When I looked at their rosters, man, it's a lot of guys that's going to be playing on Sunday in this game. I mean, I'm just looking. Carson Becker, he'll play on Sunday. Mark Fletcher will play on Sunday. Malachi Tony, C.J. Daniels, Kylan Marion, he'll play. Of course, we know Akeem Mursar, I keep saying his name wrong. How you pronounce that dude, the edge rusher that got 10.5 sacks for Miami? I keep saying his name wrong. Sider, I'm not saying his name wrong. Anyway, Ruben Bain, we know that he got 8.5 sacks. Jacoby Thomas is a guy that we're playing, and then Fitzgerald is another guy that I mentioned. Lacey is going to be playing on the Ole Miss. I think Chamberlain, this is going to show that Chamberlain possibly can be a first-round quarterback selected in the NFL draft if he plays well in this game, man. A lot of talent on the field. But give me your final thoughts on the Miami Hurricanes Ole Miss game.
Final thoughts is I think it's going to be an entertaining game because Ole Miss is not. They're not going to lay down, but they're going to try to create turnovers for Miami, trying to get a short field against this Miami defense and see if they can get some quick, easy scores against this tough defense. They don't want to. You don't want to try to go 70, 80 yards against this Miami defense because they are very talented. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Miami's offensive line and their defense line trenches, man, are very key in football. Simple. If you control that line of scrimmage, you can win football games. I think that's what Miami's going to do today. I think Ole Miss puts up points, but I think Miami wins. I still say Miami wins this football game. I think they're going to score more than what they normally do. I'll get Miami winning this football game, 31-20.
I think I'm gonna go against the grain. If it's a shootout, I think that favors Ole Miss. I think that Miami wants to keep the game low. They don't want. I don't think that they can run. They don't want to get into a. Remember the old school running rebels? That's out there in UNLV.
Yeah.
People never wanted to run with Larry Johnson, Stacey Augman, Anderson Hunt, and Greg Anthony. They didn't want to run with those guys. They wanted to. When Duke beat them, they slowed the game down to their pace. Miami has to dictate tempo in this game. What that means is run the ball, play solid defense, get a lead so you can let those two edge rushers get after Chamberlain. You know that the Miami Hurricanes has 12 sacks in 2 games. That is an amazing stat. When you got 12 sacks in 2 games against 2 good teams in Texas A&M and Ohio State Buckeyes. So when you got 12 sacks, if the game is high scoring, like you said, 31-20, absolutely not. I'm gonna go in favor of Ole Miss. If it's a low scoring game, 17-13 type of ball game, it's in favor of the Miami Hurricanes. I know yesterday I said that I was gonna go with the Miami Hurricanes. I'm gonna change my tune. I think Ole Miss, I'm gonna pull. I think Ole Miss wins this game because, like you just said, if they get to a point where they can't get those turnovers and play, they're not gonna play scared. I don't know what Ohio State was doing. I don't know what Texas A&M was doing. I think that Ole Miss offense is better than both of those offenses.
Well, I give you that.
I think Ole Miss wins this game 27-18.
Woo!
27-18. Because I just don't want Carson Beck to have to throw the ball more than 25 times. If Carson Beck has to throw the ball more than 25 times, that means the Miami Hurricanes lost this game.
You know what? You just made the people sound very happy because I think it bothered him that we were all pulling for Miami yesterday.
I had to do some research, and the only reason why, like I said, I know a lot of people gave me flack on TikTok and different avenues of social media when I said the Ole Miss didn't deserve it. And once again, I'll say this: the reason why I said it because I believe that the NCAA is not consistent, and if they would have been consistent. Remember when Florida State didn't get in when they were 12-0? That's the same reason I said the Ole Miss shouldn't get in. It wasn't because of their talent. It wasn't none of that. So I want people to understand exactly why I said what I said. Because people are like, oh, you don't know, listen to what I'm saying. Listen, use your listening skills and understand. I never said it was a lack of talent. I just know the NCAA has done wrong to teams that deserve to be in because of stuff that was out of their control. And one thing I can really say is I thank the NCAA for actually putting Ole Miss in, even though I said they shouldn't be in. But it wasn't because of their talent. It was because they didn't have a coach. It had nothing to do with their talent.
I agree.
I just wanted to clear that up because a lot of people be like, man, you did, shut up and listen. That's what we're here to do. We're here to shut up and listen. But yeah, man, we're gonna do a post show, guys. Make sure y'all stay tuned. Come back. We're gonna do a post show about this game. We'll know who won this game, and then we'll be able to really go back and look at and do our analytics on what we said, what we thought the scores was gonna be. But we do have to get our final thought right now before we get out of here. So give me your final thought on this game or whatever you want to give it on, and going into tonight.
Final thought. I'm looking forward to this football game today. I think Miami's running game and defense will control this football game, and I think that will be the big difference in this game. I think they'll find a way to slow down that quarterback, and Ole Miss does have a nice running game themselves, but I think it's just too much turmoil going on in Ole Miss, too many coaching moving around during the playoffs. It's just too much of that, and I think Miami takes advantage of that tonight and wins this football game and sets himself up for a home game in the championship.
Okay. Hey, my final thought in this game is Ole Miss. I changed my tune from yesterday. Once I can change my mind, and I did.
Yeah.
I think that Trinidad Chamberlain is going to be the difference maker in this game. He's going to get the ball to his playmakers. We forget that Wallace had a career game against Georgia last game. He was catching everything. Harrison Wallace III. This kid was catching passes. He was, I believe, the one that caught the deep pass. I don't know how you let no double, too high safeties, but nevertheless, Ole Miss, I think it becomes an offensive game because Miami has dominated the first two teams, but this will be the best offense they have played maybe all season right here. And I think that Ole Miss is gonna come in with a chip on their shoulder, just like guys like me said they shouldn't have got in, and they're gonna prove everybody why they should get in. They may be a team of destiny, and I think they got a dartboard up of Lane Kiffin's face on there and throwing darts at. They might be out in public saying it was cool, but they really don't like their head coach left them like this, man. So my final thought is Ole Miss win this game. Like I said, 27-18. I think Ole Miss makes enough plays defensively, and I think offensively, they're going to do their thing. And I don't think they're going to let those ends dictate the game like Ohio State and Tennessee, Texas A&M did. And that's my final thought. But so, man, we're gonna be back because the kickoff is in a few minutes. So we'll be back with our post game. Something new from Against the Grain Sports. We haven't really ever done that, but now we're going to get more into doing post games, Super Bowl, playoff games, basketball games. We're going to start doing post games. So I want y'all to come back and stay tuned. I don't know exactly what time it is. Just make sure if you're watching the game that as soon as the game is off, we'll be right here on Against the Grain Sports.
Yeah.
Hey, so what we doing into the post game?
We working, baby.
See y'all in a little bit. Peace.